can still remember how the music used to make me dance, laugh, smile. A long, long time ago, I can still remember how the music used to make me smile. I knew if I had the chance that I could make the people dance, and maybe they'd be happy for a while. February made me shiver with every paper I deliver. Bad news on the doorstep. I could not take one more step. I don't remember if I cried when I heard about his widowed bride. But something touched me deep inside the day the music died.
My name is Maureen Meikle. I am Bill's mother. Bill as a child was number 4, and I hardly remember him as a child because I was so busy with the other 3 as well. But he was mighty, mighty keen on hockey. He was a goalie, and he was very interested in music as well, and had numerous saxophones and was in plays, but he was a calm child. Very easy to get along with, shared very well. I don't remember them fighting, arguing. They fought, as boys do, but shared, When Jim came in the house, even when there were brand new babies, he went to see the babies first before he even came to see me or give me a kiss. He was crazy about the babies. No, he liked kids, and he was very good, and went to all the stupid hockey games, all the soccer games, all the whatever.
I was a walking eagle. I had hair. Now I'm bald. And it makes a difference.
Oh, he was a rebel. He was a rebel. He had that long hair, and he was going to be a musician for the rest of his life, or a hockey player. He didn't know which to do. He was fun, actually. They were all fun.
We went to the Canadian Stage Band Festival in Ottawa. That was cool. I met a lot of the best musicians, my generation.
The fact that we let him go to Humber and bought a house right close to Humber, because some nights it was so foggy you couldn't see across the street, and it was well worth it. But he was very into saxophones in those days.
No budget shots, no budget, non-commercial hairlines and attitude. A quick bunch of movies to test VR Hotwire's interactive QuickTime application by me. I think Talking to Buttons is a daily exploration of what interactive video for the web is and can be. Friday, 5th of the 5th, 2006. And this is an important day in blogging history because this is the first Zay Frank, he put up Google ads today. So for the first time we have a video blogger with a business model. It's there. So he'll get a little money if people click on those. And we'll have blogging that pays. Talking Buttons was my attempt to make an interactive video. I worked with QuickTime. It was a format that Apple put forward when they were kind of losers.
Some of his best stuff was up in a helicopter above Melbourne. It was amazing. This was long before anybody else was actually really doing this. It was pretty exciting. Bill actually thought he was going to make $1 million from it, but he didn't, but we had a lot of fun with it. And he's got some amazing footage.
And Ladybug is that camera that I've hang up outside it. 5 bigger cameras and 1 down. So it's 6 in total, and now it's stitched together to make one shot. It's 360 shot, like when you're on the computer. You can drag your mouse and bend around inside of the shot.
He was so far ahead of his time with ideas in terms of technology. I remember him saying that he would, that video would come to the internet. And I didn't believe him. At that time, you could, at the best, you could send a few bits of text.
I met a girl who asked me what I played.
He was pretty mellow when he met your mum, I can tell you that. We knew something was up. We didn't meet her, but we knew something was up. Having gone through it with the others, we knew somebody had changed him, which was lovely. And he couldn't have chosen better.
Bill and I met when he picked me up and I was hitchhiking. I was just coming back from tree planting in the Okanagan after having traveled in Asia and been climbing in Nepal. And I was coming back down to Vancouver to look into going to medical school. And Bill picked me up, and in the front seat was Anne McDonough. And they were looking quite, they're just coming back from Point Roberts at the beach. Bill was driving barefoot. He was driving the big yellow lizard car, he called it. And on the front seat there was a whole bunch of books by Tom Robbins. And that was great because it was one of my favorite authors at the time.
She was across the street, across the highway, going into Vancouver to become a doctor. She's a pretty impressive girl. I met a lot of dumb girls, but she was a smart girl. It mattered. We're still together 32 years later.
When I first met Bill, he loved to meet new people. He was very open-minded. He had sort of no preconceptions about people. And it's one of the things I really loved about him was his acceptance of everybody. And we both really shared that a lot because we both love to travel and meet people.
It's still quite central to my whole outlook. I don't know, traveling, it's either you ignore it or you spend your whole life thinking about it. Because we're quite lucky here compared to the rest of the world. How did I start traveling? Well, that Europe trip, I went to Africa. I got up in London, I could buy a cheap ticket. I got a job in London painting walls. And I paid for a trip over to Africa.
There must be one common attitude.
Yeah, there is. Love your brother. Love everyone around.
Yes. And what else?
Share, try to be good. And try to wonder about God. I think all of them encourage you to try to wonder.
I seem to have something for Africa. I keep going back there.
Traveling's important. We feel that traveling is very important. We felt that traveling was very important, very broadening. You get to see the rest of the world, not just Vancouver, in a very favorable way.
At least I've got some perspective. The problem with the world, like North Americans, are fairly inward looking. You don't really see the whole world around us. And to get some perspective is important.
He was just back from traveling in Africa when I met him, and then throughout our 20s, we traveled a lot. He was open-minded, positive.
Yeah, we went all over the place. Do up, do dead, dead, do up, dead, down. Don't you think that is nice? Do up with this device. Do up, do up all day long. Chicken Fruit Mountain, like Dally's on a big lake, and across the lake, go to I think it's called Wujo, and there we hiked Chicken Fruit Mountain.
I think it was 1988 that we went to China together. And that was the year before Tiananmen Square happened, and there were not very many tourists there. And it was utterly a different country than it is now. It was fascinating. It was very, very slow going because nobody spoke English. We didn't have very much money at all. In fact, we were desperately poor. Anyways, we did eventually make it to Chickenfoot Mountain and hiked up. It used to be a big Buddhist pilgrimage site, and lower down all the temples and the art had been destroyed in the Cultural Revolution. But higher up, I guess because it went over 10,000 feet, I think, there was still some incredible artifacts and stuff left.
It was an ancient Buddhist temple with statues all over the roof, like 100, maybe 200 of these hand-painted statues. Marco Polo visited the same place.
However, when we came out on a bus, we got arrested because we weren't supposed to have been there. I don't know why. It was absolutely beautiful and something they should be very proud of.
I remember we went to Hawaii on the way with my mom and dad. And when we went from the Lap of Luxury to Calcutta, India is a wild ride. It's a Solomon sense.
Bill and I got married in India the first time in 1994. It was a wonderful adventure, huge rhododendron forest, wonderful people, and of course just gorgeous part of the world. It was nearing the end of our trip and we decided that we were about ready to head back to Canada, and wouldn't it be nice if we were to get married? We'd warned our families that we might get married when we were traveling. It seemed to suit us.
We got married up in Darjeeling, way in the north of India. From our hikes, we slept in Nepal that night without going through the border. I don't know how we did that. We met some other people and we decided to get married.
I think I graduated from med school at UBC in 1991. We went to New Zealand for a year. When we came back, Bill and I wanted to have a place where we could store our books is what we were thinking of. It wasn't too far from Vancouver because Bill was gigging and doing music at night.
6 o'clock, July 10th, we started to put up the beams. You can see we're doing it sort of halfway, and then there's nothing there the rest of the way. We're going to put it up. Here comes Bill carrying one of those pieces now. It's a 12-footer.
We're getting there.
So the forest house originally was a tent on a rock, and then eventually we got a trailer pulled across the river before fisheries didn't allow that sort of stuff. And then eventually we built a whole house and lived there for 7 years.
I was so sick of living with my mom and dad. Finally just found this cheap piece of wasteland up in the woods, and we built the house up there. It was cool. I'm glad we did it. It was super difficult though. You make me feel like dancing, dancing that way. You make me feel like dancing, dancing that way. Dancing, whoa, dancing that way. Dancing.
My name's Jasmine Meikle. I'm Bill Meikle's oldest daughter. I was born in Vancouver. I lived there for a while, just a few months, with my parents after I was first born, just because they were living at the Forest House at that time, so that was way up Paradise Valley. So they didn't really want to bring a new baby all the way up there, so I was at the Forest House up Paradise Valley until I was about 4 years old.
Although Bill absolutely loves his kids, in some ways it didn't change him very much because I kind of did all the work in some ways.
I tried not to change that much, but eventually kind of had to pay attention to kids and all that responsibility. Luckily, Sue's really responsible.
I think the trait I admire most about my dad, or I have throughout my life, is his patience and his ability to understand other people. I think that's something I've really tried to inherit from him when there's situations where it's hard to be patient, or there's situations where people, you're just on different wavelengths. Another thing that I kind of realized that I've gotten from him is this wanting to see the world become a better place. My minor at university is global development, and I think part of that comes from him. He's always been someone who doesn't really accept the world for what it is. I mean, he does on one hand, but on the other hand, he sees that it could be better. He's always been very interested in bettering our world, whether that's through stuff like helping people directly with water, or helping like society with like cleaner energy and different green solutions. He's always been very, very inspired to see the world become a better place, and I think I've kind of inherited that vision from him a little bit, which is really cool. We would do these plans together, him being the visionary, me being the realist a little bit, saying, "Dad, we can't do that." But sometimes he proved me wrong too. Sometimes we could do that. You know, you can't eat juice and cereal. I said no, he said yes.
Bill really wanted to share some of his passions with his kids, and I would say that was a love of traveling and an interest and a capability with technology. And of course, Bill and I both love to travel, and we're very fortunate to do several trips with you guys. Probably our best family memories.
Melody, Jasmine, Bill, and Sue go around the world and send it back.
So in 2008, we went on our trip around the world. It was 6 months. We went to Hawaii, Fiji, Australia, Bali, the Seychelles, South Africa, Egypt, Greece, Italy, Switzerland, France, and Spain. And it was this amazing trip. It was kind of a trip that all four of us still look back on so fondly. It brought us, our family, really close together. It made some amazing memories.
So Bill was doing this Ladybug 360 video and then rendering it every night.
Well, I got the Ladybug, I think, the week before I left. So it was actually quite good for my career, because I put up a bunch of shots.
The trip was really a big thing for him because he was one of the first people to really travel with spherical video. This was back in 2008. It wasn't nearly as popular as it is now.
We wanted to travel while we could. We couldn't carry heavy backpacks. We couldn't we couldn't walk a long ways. We had to have public or private transit in any place that was hot because the heat really affected his MS.
Yeah, it was good to get out and do stuff while I still could. And now I'm in a friggin' wheelchair. It's hard to go out and do much.
It was manageable, but even at that point, when my parents were planning the trip, his MS was impacting what countries they chose to go to. They weren't as willing to take the risks that they necessarily would have if everyone is at optimal health. My parents were careful.
My name is Dr. Virginia Devonshire. I'm a neurologist. Multiple sclerosis is considered a chronic neurologic disorder, but it is also an autoimmune disorder. That means the individual's immune system is actually attacking the brain and spinal cord. So instead of the immune system being weak, it's actually too strong. The immune system is looking for a virus to fight, and instead of finding a virus, it actually sees the myelin coating on the nerve, which in some ways looks a lot like a virus protein. The nerves that were attacked are unhealthy, and they actually start to break or undergo what we call degeneration. And so then the individual with multiple sclerosis will find slowly and progressively they worsen, they get weaker, their walking becomes more problematic, bladder function becomes more problematic, and they can have problems such as cognitive impairment, problems with thinking, memory. And this occurs sort of insidiously and progressively, again, over decades.
My name is Lawrence Klein. I'm a family doctor in Squamish, British Columbia, and I've been Bill's physician, I think, since about 2001. Bill was quite reluctant to entertain that diagnosis. I don't think he liked the idea very much, and quite appropriately so. It has not proven to be a gentle disease with him. It has generally been an intermittently, lurchingly progressive disease, which has now resulted in him going from being a very mobile, athletic, capable man to unfortunately bedridden and quite dependent on others. It's been a real challenge for him to sacrifice and let go of some of that independence. It must have been incredibly hard. I think it's still very hard. NeuroFit, as I understand it, it's not specific to MS. It's designed, I think, largely for people with a diversity of neurologically based diseases. That could be post-stroke rehabilitation, that could be MS, that could be motor neuron disease, that could be other things. And the idea is that if you don't use it, you lose it. And that although it's challenging to exercise effectively with some neurologic disabilities, helping people to do so may slow the course of their illness. Relationships are often highly challenged in circumstances of chronic illness, and stress and misfortune can bring out the best in people and the heroism in people and sometimes the worst of people. I think your dad overall specifically has been really stoic and brave, and I think he's definitely a fighter. But I think sometimes that can be very hard on families. It can be very challenging emotionally. It can be challenging on the relationships because you're now redefining yourself and abandoning your roles and having to rediscover yourself.
While a lot of parts of my dad's life have been affected by MS in hugely consequential ways, he's remained himself in his beliefs. While MS has changed a lot of his relationships on a personal level, he has been able to maintain that interaction between his personality and his environments. He's still been able to approach those in a way that maintains who he is.
He come dripping down the stairs, pretty Peggy-O. Dripping down the stairs, pretty Peggy-O. Come tripping down the stairs, combing back your yellow hair. As pretty as any maiden in the county, oh, as we march down Tipperary, oh, as we march down Tipperary, oh, our captain fell in love with a lady like a dove. They called